With the success of Ninjala Season 1, Ninjala Season 2 has started out being more hype than the last season. Season 2 has only been out for about a week and a half now, and players really seem to be enjoying it way more than they were with Season 1. However, if it wasn't for Season 1, Season 2 wouldn't have started in the state it's currently in. So let's take a look back at Season 1 and review what the season did right, what it did wrong, and how they can change it in Season 2 and beyond. Hello ladies and gentlemen and all the core gamers out there, CAJman777 here to bring you more of a discussion video today regarding the now finished Season 1 of Ninjala. As I already stated, I'll be talking about Season 1 and everything it did right, everything it did wrong in the lead up to Season 2. But I wanted to open this discussion up to all of you because there's so many opinions out there, and I'd like to hear your thoughts and impressions on what you thought of Ninjala Season 1 and what you thought they did right or wrong in the comments below. However, before we get into that, if you guys are, of course, enjoying the Ninjala content on the channel, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, and also hit that subscribe button for more Ninjala content. And with that out of the way, let's start by talking about the build-up to what Ninjala Season 1 did right. There's so many ways to talk about the build-up to Ninjala's eventual release, but the biggest thing that comes to mind for a lot of players were the 2 open beta sessions of Ninjala. As many people know, this game was initially shown off at E3 2018 in a Nintendo Direct, a fun, quirky game that a lot of people at the time compared to Splatoon. You had bright colors, young characters, and an overall amazing aesthetic. I got hooked immediately upon seeing this trailer. However, while this got a lot of people talking about the game, it was still super early in the game's development cycle, and old logo and all. It wasn't until 2 years later that we started getting more information about this game and how it progressed straight from the devs themselves through more directs, in my opinion, which is absolutely fantastic. You see, when a game developer directly talks to their target market, it's not only an amazing way to get the game more hyped, but it's also showing the player base interested in your game that you care if they play your game. Fan interaction is absolutely huge in the game development market, and games that do this constantly, like one of my favorite games, personally, Monster Hunter World, keeps players coming back and wanting more. Because of this, it eventually led up to the devs themselves announcing the first open beta session, which was slated for April 28th of 2020. As many players know, it seems the devs weren't quite prepared for the influx of players on the first beta session though, and a lot of people would consider the first beta session of Ninjala ending in disaster. Despite this, however, the developers assured people that the next time they played it, it would be better. However, the first beta was slated shortly before the game's actual release, and realizing this, the devs took a step back and said, we're going to delay Ninjala for an extra few months to work on problems. And that statement in particularly, specifically made by the dev team, is the reason I came back to Ninjala for more. I was already hooked, and then seeing the devs' dedication on top of that only continued my drive and the need and want to play this game. Then in May 2020, around the time of Ninjala's original non-delayed release, we got an announcement of a second beta session of Ninjala. This time, it was a little different, because unlike the first beta, the second beta was region locked, and again, this was a fantastic move by the devs, and everything in the second beta ran smoothly. There were still error codes here and there, but not nearly as much as the first beta, and this sent people into an absolute frenzy. They wanted more Ninjala, and in June of 2020, the Ninjala launch trailer dropped, and oh my god, they nailed it. From the reference at the beginning of this trailer to West Side Story, yes, I've watched it, I'm old, but I'm not that old, so don't call me old, to the overall feel of the trailer, you really got a sense for what Ninjala was going to be. Fun, chaotic, and just a great time with friends. The devs absolutely nailed the build-up, and with their added dev diaries talking about the game on top of that in the build-up to Season 1 began, and so did the life cycle of this game. When Ninjala finally arrived, the first few days, of course, were rough. At the very beginning, with everyone trying to log on at once, obviously there was a server overload, and well, you know how that goes with any game that's free and doesn't need an online subscription. But despite that, over 1 million players had already downloaded Ninjala, and because of that, and the server issues on top of that, the Ninjala development team said, we're going to compensate our players, and provided everyone with 100 Jala, which is the game's premium currency, and 10 Flame Gum Epons, which is a weapon skin for the katana. So despite the rocky start in terms of the season launch, the Ninjala development team was doing a great job, and for a while the game did very well. Season passes were selling. We'll talk a bit more about that later. People were playing and having fun. Ninjala got its own animated cartoons, which people loved, and I'm hooked because I'm an animation, well, I graduated with an animation degree, and the game was on its way to being an absolute success, hitting 2 million downloads later that week. It was around this time, though, with Ninjala having 2 million downloads that people started to notice some issues with the game itself. Specifically with the amount of content the game had to offer and the season pass. Now, as a lot of people know, the life cycle of a game all has to do with the amount of content the devs push out as the game continues its cycle. But Ninjala on release only had 2 maps and 12 weapons. Now, while this isn't an issue inherently with the weapons, there is an issue in terms of the amount of maps. You see, only having 2 maps in the beginning makes the gameplay get stale and eventually boring, and we'll discuss this in the next section. But combining this with the way the Season Pass was handled, people started to drift away a little bit from the game itself. The Season Pass itself, however, was charming, cute, and had some incredible rewards for the kickoff season in the form of epone decorations, emotes, clothing. Heck, there was even a ton more in the actual item shop. However, there were 2 issues with this that maybe people, unfortunately with the pass, didn't want to deal with at the time, and maybe it prevented them from picking up the pass itself. The first issue I saw with the pass is the amount of rewards people got for not having the pass. As I stated, in Ninjala's premium currency, Jala was used for quite a few things, much like other games with the season pass. This currency was used for the item shop, the gumball machine, which has its own problems, and of course cosmetics. However, by not having the season pass, you didn't earn enough Jala to earn the premium pass by the end of it. Instead, you earned 1 piece of gear, around 200 Jala, an emote, and an epone decoration. Now that's a problem in itself because the game has a ton of charm, but people who don't have the pass could only really get 1 thing in the shop for the 200 Jala they earned in the non-premium pass. The other issue in regards to the pass was how the pass was handled in terms of level up in form of these tier points. Now, while the pass had daily challenges, which were worth 5 times the normal amount of points, you'd only get 5 of these a day, but there would also be no weekly challenges for even more points. Like, think about it this way. Like, if you played a match and you didn't complete a challenge and you didn't come in first, and you'd only come in first, you'd only get 10 tier points toward the actual level up toward your tier. Which, when you needed 1,000+ points in later tiers, you can see why this would be a problem and becomes an absolute grind. However, once again, the devs had a solution to this, and it was called an Ninjala Pass Matsuri, which not only tripled the amount of points you would get during your daily challenges, but following a patch that dropped close to this event as well, players can now get more tier points for placements, with first place eventually getting 40, and eventually everybody would start getting 40 tier points for their performance in any match. So once again, the devs were very aware of how to fix the game at the time. However, while not everything is currently better with the pass in Season 2, they definitely have a much better grip on it than they did in Season 1, which is technically their trial season. On a personal note, though, I'd still like to see people without the pass being able to earn enough Jala through the free pass to get the premium pass once they hit tier 100, so they can reap the benefits. I'd also like to see an implementation of a weekly challenge for even more points. This can be something super difficult, like get a total of 100 epones for a week, or get like a total of 100 KOs, something like that, so it would really challenge the players, but it would give you at least like, I don't know, maybe like 2,000 tier points or something like that. I don't know, that seems a little high, but let me know what you guys think about that idea in that. Aside from that, though, the pass system is in a much better place now, and I can't wait to see how they improve it in the coming season, and even this season. But now brings us to the next issue with Ninjala Season 1. This was the Ninjala Season 1 issue that I think a lot of people had the most complaints about, and this was having 2 maps. I think this is pretty easy to explain, but only having 2 maps for the first season with no plans to release another map until Season 2 made gameplay get stale rather quickly for solo play over team play. WNA Academy, as most people know, was the map most players would see, and out of the 2 maps in Season 1, this map felt the most balanced, being a fun, rather open map with fights able to happen everywhere. However, the other map, Eagle City, got a lot of hate. Players didn't approve of it mainly because the 12 weapons players currently had didn't help with the mobility on such a large map with multiple elevations. And on top of that, finding fights in Eagle City could be a pain, and if you couldn't find fights, it would cost you games. But Eagle City in Season 1 became very boring in solo play, mainly because of the problems I already talked about. But on top of that, if people weren't playing Eagle City in teams, they would avoid playing Eagle City altogether. Obviously, that shrinks your map pool choices to only 1, and you can see where that would be a big issue in Season 1. Now, while we currently have 3 maps in Season 2, I feel like the same issue is still going to bear its ugly head as the season goes on. And while the devs have said they're adding 1 map per season, if they want this game to be more sustainable, I'd say they'd have to release a map at the beginning of the season, like they did for Season 2, and then about 3/4 or at the very tail end of the season, release the next map if it's ready to be pushing through. I completely get adding 1 map and sticking to a theme for the season, but as the devs already know, players are always going to want more content. So I hope the devs don't feel too pressured to put maps out faster, but again, that's just my opinion. And speaking of my opinion, now we get to talk about something in Season 1 that I think a lot of people hated, and it was ranked. Now, ranked hits me rather personally, as the grind for Season 1 absolutely sucked. Ranked still needs an overhaul in Season 2, and a huge one at that. Now, while this season is for the most part balanced for the lower ranked players, on the upper end of the spectrum where myself, many other Ninja God, and Legendary Ninjas are sitting, the grind is absolutely unforgiving. The most points we can gain for any given match with people very close to our own rank is +4. This is horrible in terms of the point gain, and even matchmaking because of how long it takes at the higher end to rank up. For example, in order to achieve Ninja God from Legendary Ninja, you need to get 1,000 points. If you're gaining +4 every game, in order to get those 1,000 points, you need to play 250 ranked games just to rank up. You'd also not only that, but you'd also need to be in first every game to get your +4, because it's not even guaranteed that you'll get +4 every time with the way the matchmaking was set up in Season 1. So on average, a player who is looking to hit Ninja God from Legendary Ninja is probably at minimum looking at 300 games, and I haven't even talked about the losses yet, and we'll get to that in a second. While indeed, as I said, you can get up to +4 for winning a game, losing a game in an even match hits you harder. Hits you way harder on the higher end of the spectrum. Getting a 5th place as either a Ninja God or a Legendary Ninja in Season 1, you'd lose 28 points for getting 5th place once. Now, do you see where this could be a little bit of an issue? The end does not justify the means in this case, so the grind for ranked really wasn't worth it, which is why myself and many others stopped playing ranked at the tail end of Season 1. But in order to fix this, I think the best way they can fix this is either increase the amount of points we gain for wins in an even match, or decrease the amount of points we lose on a loss, because having to play 7 games just to get back the 28 points we lost for 5th place, because if you take into account that every match is +4, we lose 28, and taking that 5th place loss, obviously that's 7 games to get back, which takes about an hour now. That's not fair to anyone in the slightest, and the system definitely needs to be changed. Now, while we're all desperately waiting for a system in Season 2 to fix this, I do want the devs to really look at ranked, and I wanted them to make it balanced for everybody. Because at the moment, it's very balanced for the lower ranks, but it's not very balanced for the higher ranks. As I said, the end does not justify the means, and it's why a lot of higher ranks don't even touch ranked right now, and it's why we're playing free matches. Despite that, let's move on to a little bit more of a positive note that happened in Season 1. Now, a big thing in Season 1 that I've kind of made very, very subtle hints throughout the video was the quote-unquote dwindling player base. You see, in the middle of Season 1, despite having almost 4 million downloads at the time, Ninjala had a big issue to address. And that issue was the region lock. Much like the second beta, Ninjala on full release was region locked. This, of course, was to prevent server overload and many, many error codes that would appear if the region was unlocked. But what this did was limit who you could play with at any given time. So many players would be matching up with the same people time and time again, and then they wouldn't be able to find matches in the night because they couldn't play with people outside their region. So like America would rarely be able to cross with Japan unless you had a JP account, or a JP had an American account. So you could see where that would be a huge issue in Season 1. Now, while this was to make the servers run more smoothly, the devs and Gung Ho themselves decided to bring about quite a bit of maintenance on multiple occasions for a very important update. In version 2.0 of Ninjala, which dropped at the beginning of August, the last month of Season 1, and not only came with multiple weapon buffs, nerfs, and balances, along with the other patches that came out with multiple weapon buffs, nerfs, and balances, what happened here in version 2 was the region lock removal. So now players could play with their friends from other regions without delay. Now, while there were some hiccups in the beginning when the region lock was removed, the Gung Ho team became super confident in the last month of the first season. They had their data, They had their goals, and from version 2.0 onward, not only could we play with our friends around the world, but the team behind Ninjala themselves continuously put out matchmaking and maintenance patches that really smoothed out the experience for a lot of players. Now, while they still do indeed have an IP lock, what this ended up allowing Ninjala to do shortly after the release of version 2.0 was to hit 4 million downloads. The player base came back. There were more matches than ever before, and not only that, but the devs had more stuff planned in terms of Epone events. They brought back the Ninjala Pass events, and the player base was incredibly happy. As of Season 2, we are currently still having a ton of fun, and what's amazing about all the changes they've made with the region lock removal and all the maintenance is that I just recently completed the stream over on my Twitch. If you want to go drop a follow over there, by the way, head on over to twitch.tv/CAJman777. Shameless plug! I don't care! But I did the stream with my friends GG Skull and Starlet Siren, and for the first time ever, we did not need to reset a team room a single time. And that really goes to show you how well the devs have been trying to fix the matching and fix this game. The devs have done a wonderful job with handling the region unlock, and I can't be happier. I hope they continue to improve and smooth out the experience as the game goes on, because they absolutely have me hooked. Overall, Ninjala Season 1, I would say, was a trial. Not only for the players, but for the developers as well. With the team over at Gung Ho, they have an amazing IP here in the form of Ninjala, and their continued dedication to listening to fan feedback, and even videos like this one, is why Ninjala has been so successful so far. We can only hope the team over at Gung Ho continues to provide the same drive as the game continues to grow, and as us, as players, continue to join the game. And despite the issues we may have had with Season 1, as I said, Season 1 was a trial. It was a test of resolve for the players and Gung Ho. If I had to rate my overall experience with Season 1, I would have had to say it's a 6 out of 10, but as of right now in Season 2, it's a very solid 8 out of 10. But that really covers everything I kind of wanted to say about Season 1 Ninjala, kind of taking a little bit of a retrospective view in terms of how the video was planned out. But I hope you all enjoyed this video of Ninjala Season 1 in review. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Season 1 and what you think, of course, can be changed as the game moves forward. And now, I know I didn't get a chance to talk about everything I wanted to in this video, and I might even save it for another video. I'm looking at you, Ninjala tutorial that doesn't exist! And hit detection. How dare you not hit on my side, on my back attacks. I'm watching you hit detection. But regardless, if you guys enjoyed the video, one last time, do me a favor, hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button. But other than that, as always, I have to take this opportunity to thank my donators over there on Patreon who have supported this video and all my other videos for a lot of months over the past. And those Patreon supporters are MickeyPhorGens and Thomas for their continued support to the channel. But once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until then, this is CAJman777 signing off. Stay safe, everybody.